Mic'd up.
Boys and girls, children of all ages, act like you know it's going down. I'm your captain.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to Yankees Coast to Coast, all 1.3 of you. It's Michael Miller and me, Adam Schneider, here to
Get your name?
share. Adam the Schneider. How are you? Just want to say a quick thing. I just want to say that I had a very a loss today. A dear friend who's a friend of the show. My uncle, Douglas Palshevsky, passed away today.
I'm sorry to hear.
And he was a good guy, big Yankee fan. We used to go to games together. He was my wife's uncle, and he adopted me. And I never had a lot of uncles, so it was really special to have him in my life. And we all loved him dearly. And we hope he rests in peace. We pray for that. And anyway, let's do a show in memory of Doug.
Well, it is
all right.
nice to have you back this week after missing you for the last couple
I
of
fell
weeks.
asleep last week. You were very kind, but I actually fell asleep.
Well, that's what happens when you try and watch the show instead of be on the show.
Yeah.
That's what our fans do. They fall asleep. That's how the ratings stay so high, is they're sleeping on the job.
We are really special, aren't we?
So
we're very important in their lives. We know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think about this? Are you happy that the season's almost over? It's not the halfway point. I mean, what do they have? 68 games left? I mean, what a joke. Frankie just gave me a big. Frankie's listening. He just gave us
I didn't get anything from Frankie. He doesn't like me anymore.
I don't like you either. But anyway, so this season, it's not really halfway point. I missed that. I kind of like, why do they have the Midsummer Classic in June now?
No, the All-Star game's always been, right after the first week after July 4th. It's been that way for a long time. It's that the season has started here in the last few years. It's now starting at, March 29th and 30th, and instead of starting like April 7th or 8th, and that's like an 8 to 10 game difference. So that's what's happened. If the All-Star game didn't move, the schedule moved.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it was always,
right.
July 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever it is.
I remember opening day, April 15th. I remember opening day, maybe April 12th. I remember the earliest I remember was April 8th.
So you can see why it's 8 to 10 games. You go from 96 games, take away 8 to 10 games, you're at 86, 85 games. That's the midpoint, Yes, I know 80, 81 is the true midpoint, but it is what it is.
But then again, they used to play double headers every Sunday. So
they also used to only have one round of playoffs and then the World Series since 69, 67, whatever year it was. And before that, it was right to the World Series. And before that, it was right to the World Series. So, I mean, now you've got the wild card rounds, you've got the division series, you've got the championship series, and then you finally have the World Series. So, it is what it is. So let's see. So neither one of us has looked at, and I was curious because I don't get behind the paywall at the New York Post website. Neither one of us has looked at the grading of the Yankees at the New York Post website. So I am curious about whether we are tougher graders or easier graders. I have a feeling we will be tougher on most of the players because we don't have to see them every day like the beat writers do. Right. And we pretty much, you could pretty much know our grades based on what we say. So we're going to go position by position is what we decided. And we're going to start with first base. So we're going to start with Goldie. Just to run you some numbers, give it to you. His batting average is back up to 287 with a 345 on base, a 431 slug, a 116 OPS plus, which is an OPS of 776. And his WAR is only 1.3. And what surprised me more than anything else is his defensive WAR is actually negative 0.2.
And that's where I think it's absolutely crazy.
That's, I can't imagine how bad the Yankees defense would be if Goldschmidt was not the first baseman. And the other half of it is even if you look at defensive runs saved, he's at negative 6.8, which is not good. And I don't see that. I'd really love to know a little bit more about how Fangraphs and others measure defensive runs saved, because that's not a good number for him. Obviously, he started out ridiculously hot. And you could say what you want about him versus lefties and righties. He's only had 92 at bats versus lefties. So you can't say it was totally against lefties, even though he's still hitting over 400 against lefties. And he's had 242 at bats against righties. And, the big thing is his OPS against righties is only 617. And his OPS against lefties is, judgy like at 1182. His hard hit rate, though, is at 43%, which I thought that came out a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be. But he started to come back. I gave our friend Paul Goldschmidt, friend of the show, a B minus, and he was like an A earlier, and then he dropped down to a C, and he's trending up for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, as I've been saying, the Yankees need to find a way to have him play more, and also be in at the end of every game at first base, even though the defensive metrics say otherwise. What do you think of that grade?
I'm okay with it. It doesn't. I could say A minus. I could go a little further, because I think he's more important on a couple other levels. First, I think he absolutely saves Volpe from errors, and I think they're going to need him desperately down the, because I don't think that we're getting as much. Something's wrong with Jazz's arm. He has a shoulder problem. Something doesn't feel right. So I'm wondering about him. I think he saved his team more runs, and I just think the fact that he's not defensively strong in these these metrics are it just doesn't. Certainly, they got to look at the eye test. The guy doesn't seem to miss anything. He never seems. Maybe he doesn't have the best range of a first baseman in the world,
and that's on grounders. Anything that's in his neighborhood with regard to a throw, he's all over.
I just don't see him ever missing anything in the dirt, while I've seen almost everyone else. I mean, you can really see Rice not being as strong, probably because he doesn't have the experience. He's been doing this. Coachman's been playing for 20 years. I mean, if you go back to college, he's been playing first base forever. So I think that the grade is fine. Things I like about him, he doesn't strike out very much. And that's something that they desperately need in the batting order. He's only, I think he's in the top 17% in the league. I don't think, or he strikes out, whatever the number is, he's top 75% in that. So he strikes out 16.6% of the time, which to me is a very low number in this lineup. My only concern with Suarez is that he's going to strike out a lot. That's the thing. The Yankees don't need more.
Well, he's not on the team, so let's not talk about him.
All right. That's the point. Good point. Because I think that they need this guy, and it bothers me when he's not in the lineup. Do I love him as a leadoff? No, against the lefty, I guess it's fine because he gets another at bat or two. But the fact is, most part, that lefty's not going to be around in the fifth inning anyway. So sixth inning anyway.
It might be the lefty relievers. I mean, his on base percentage is .345 for the season, so you can't really argue with that. Is he a leadoff hitter? No, but if the Yankees continue to bat Judge second, which I think is asinine, but having a guy that can't really steal bases, even though he's a very good base runner, batting second is not the end of the world. The other guy I have ranked down as the first baseman is Rice, because I didn't know where to put him. I put him. You could have put him at DH. You could have put him at first base. I put him at first base, and his average is down to 235, and his on base is only 326. His slugging is good at 466, and his OPS plus is at 119, which is slightly higher than our friend Goldschmidt. His defensive runs saved is negative as well, double that of what Goldschmidt's is, but his WAR is the same as Goldschmidt's, which is a 1.3. He's only had 69 at bats against lefties, and his batting average against lefties is 190, and his slugging is only 444. So he's not good against lefties, which makes him, what I said a couple of shows back, a perfect platoon for Goldschmidt, with Goldschmidt coming in late in the game for defensive purposes, if that's something you want to do. But even against righties, he's still only a 249 hitter. The big thing about him is his hard hit rate is 54.7%, which is pretty high, but his walk rate is only 8.9, and his strikeout rate is just over 20%. So, Rice
Puts
is
him dead center in the league right now, pretty much dead center.
with regard to what,
His
54%?
K rate. So he's a young
Yeah.
guy, swings hard, and he doesn't strike out that much.
I still think he's still the best trade piece the Yankees have on the roster.
I would agree. What's your grade? What are you grading?
I gave him the same grade I gave Goldschmidt, actually, a B minus. I don't think he ever was an A, and I don't think he was ever really below a C. He's been pretty consistent. I didn't realize how bad he is against lefties, but in 69 at bats, it's not a very big sample size. But I'd rather see him in the lineup than Chisholm, even against a right-handed pitcher, and we'll get to that later. I mean, instead of I just got that wrong. Grisham, not Chisholm. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think that's low for him. I think the guy has. I'm not crazy. I wish his batting average were higher. He does see he's definitely tanked in the last month because again I think this is what happened to him in 24. Starts off, comes in, then they start talking about how he's going to be replaced. Where's he going to get line? It's a lot of buzz about this. He's a kid. He's 20. Well, he's not really. He's 26, but he still is not an experienced major league player yet. And I think he's been great. What I love about him is that he is an absolute threat from the left side. He is. I love how far he hits the ball. I love how hard he hits the ball. I mean, these metrics of his batting metrics. If you look at the Savant, he's like in the 90s on everything. He is amazing as far as how well he barrels up the ball. His exit velo at 94%. I mean, it's just outrageously
right, but he's still
high.
hitting 235.
And that's the thing. And they say that he should be hitting much higher.
But
If you
a bunch of
believe
bump.
that,
You know how I feel about this. It's not quite my run differential rant, but quite frankly, if you hit the ball in the same place every single time, you're not going to get a hit because they're going to put people there to play defense.
yeah,
And
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see if this evens out. I'd like to see another. I want a little more sample size. Let's see if it's about him hitting the ball in the same spot all the time or hitting it right at somebody and getting.
I think he's going to have to go in a trade, but we'll see what happens.
Well, we don't
What do you
disagree.
think? What do you think as far as a grade for him?
I B minus is way low. I certainly go no lower than a B. I would even go to a B plus, given what he's done for them. He has replaced. He has given them everything that Stanton could give them, and then some. If Stanton were in this batting, it had been in this batting order the whole time. He has more home runs than Stanton probably would have had, and I also heard it's pretty darn close. And I think Stanton would have about 95% more strikeouts because that's really much all he does. He either hits the ball, he hits a home run, or he hits the ball hard, and we're happy. He's not hitting home runs like he used to, but he's striking out a lot more. So I think this guy has given us everything that Stanton would have given us, on top of being young enough to actually go from first to second on a single without pulling a hamstring. And I think that's been good. And he's been valuable as a first baseman, two very important positions now as a backup catcher. So, I give him a whole lot more than just a B minus.
I'm me. I unlike my students at the college where I teach, I'm a little bit harder on the Yankees than I am the students.
That's fine. My feelings aren't hurt. I give you that. I give you that right and that license.
Yeah. So the next guy up is now we get to the infielders, the traditional second base, shortstop, third base. And just so you know, I didn't give DJ a grade 1, he's gone. Didn't give Cabrera a grade, he's out for the season. I didn't give Vivas or Reyes a grade because why bother? Neither one of them should be on the team and neither one's played enough anyhow. But we'll start with Jazz. Jazz is up to 250 now after being much lower. I didn't know Jazz's on base was as high as a 348. Surprised the hell out of me. I didn't think it was that high. It's got a 513 slugging and an 861 OPS, which puts him at 137 OPS plus. His WAR is 2.7 and his defense is 0.1 in the positive at both second base and third base. His strikeout rate, though, is at 26.9%, and his walk rate's at 11.8. He missed a month, and he's only 10 for 14 stealing. And I think one of the reasons he's not running is because I think that would really hurt his shoulder because he doesn't slide feet first. He slides head first. And what surprised me is that his splits against lefties were pretty bad with a 619 OPS. But his home and away splits are incredible. His home OPS is 1031. I did not realize how much he benefits. He's hitting 308 in Yankee Stadium. The guy loves to play at the stadium in front of the home crowd. It's pretty impressive. So I gave Jazz a B trending towards B plus. And the reason I didn't give him higher is because, he was striking out a ridiculous rate before he got hurt. And he did get hurt. And while I know you can't be replaced when you get hurt, I hold it against the guy for getting hurt. And that strikeout rate is still too high, and that's preventing him from being as good a player as I think he can be. But he does bring something to the table and energy to the team that, you would have hoped a guy like Volpe could bring to them, but he doesn't. So I gave Jazz a B, and I think that he's trending higher.
Yeah, I would say he is ever since this 70% thing.
Well, that's why I only hit 3 home runs in the Derby.
Well, did I say that to you? I think I might have mentioned. I hope.
I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did
because I knew that he would be done. I still think his ego is now, on another planet. He's still going to try to hit home runs next week. He's going to come home tomorrow. He's going to swing from the heels again. My problem with him, as it always has been, is that he is two different players. He's a very talented, spectacular player when he wants to play a baseball, and then he's a real butthead when he wants to be like, the game. He wants to be Aaron Judge. And as long as he starts playing that game where he thinks he can hit home runs at that level, he's not going to do well.
Well, that's why he's trending up, as he hasn't been doing that. I find that.
Yeah. The strikeout rates are troubling. He should be getting balls on the ground and using his legs wherever possible, and he's not.
I think you're really minimizing what he's been since he's got back, where he's been hitting like 320. So I mean, before the injury, he was a completely different player. I think after the injury, he's been that. Let's see what he is after the All-Star break. But that's why I think he's trending up, and he's now moving to a more comfortable position defensively. Unlike other players around Major League Baseball, Devers, Gleyber Torres, and a bunch of other guys, he's willing to go to a place that, I just want to play. All right, third base. Yeah, I'd rather play second, but I'll play third. You got to give the guy some credit for that. He's playing in a place that he's not that comfortable. But I do agree, his defense at third base was starting to go in the wrong direction. I do think it was arm related. Hopefully, it doesn't impact him as much at second base. So far, so good.
Yeah.
I just don't like the fact he stopped running. And when we get to Boone and grading Boone, I'll tell you, Boone, is he to blame for him not running, or is Jazz's shoulder the reason he's not running? I'd like Boone that's one of my criticisms of Boone when we go forward. And then next up is another show that we listen to is doing a show tomorrow. But they're saying Volpe's a bum. Quite frankly, I don't know if he's a bum. I don't know if he's a bum, but at 214 batting average, a 287 on base, 384 slugging, a 455 OPS. 348.
671 OPS.
671 OPS, which is 86th in the league, OPS plus. And then what's really amazing to me is I started looking at his splits. He's hitting 186 against righties. He's got a 262 on base percentage against righties and a 355 slug. I'm sorry. That's horrible. I mean, he can't hit right-handed pitching. It goes back to the fact he has his ass in the dugout.
Can I just, this is something that's bothering me a lot. Why are right-handed hitters? I've always understood why lefties have a hard time against left-handed pitchers. There aren't that many, or there weren't historically that many, especially in the minor leagues and in high school. Coming up, there aren't that many lefties. So left-handed hitters definitely have a disadvantage against a left-handed pitcher. They have a great advantage against the right-hander because they've done most of their hitting against them, and they have an advantage because of the way the ball comes to them, the way they see it. I don't get why right-handed hitters have a problem against right-handed pitchers. They have been playing against right-handed pitchers their entire life, and the vast majority of their bats should be against right-handed batters.
Because
why can't they hit?
Well, in Volpe's case, Volpe is a guy who steps in the bucket. And if a right-handed pitcher is throwing a pitch that's breaking away from him, which is what most right-handed breaking pitches do, he's not going to be able to reach the pitch that's on the outer half of the plate. Whereas if a left-handed pitcher makes a mistake against him and puts the ball toward the inside part of the plate because it broke more than he wanted to and came across home plate, he's going to be able to hit it. But Volpe, I mean, we've been saying this for 2 years. You can't hit consistently if your ass is in the third base dugout as a right-handed hitter. And Jeff Nelson's gotten on his case. Paul, to a lesser extent, Paul O'Neill's gotten on his case. What's the other guy's name? Third baseman. Frazier has really gotten on his case about the way he's, and Frazier's a guy who stepped in the bucket massively. And they started to get on his case about it. And quite frankly, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
His stolen base percentage at 58.8%.
Terrible.
Goodness, is that horrible? That's just ridiculously disgusting.
And he's top 28% in the, he's 79% in the in sprint speed. He's very fast.
And his strikeout rate is 23.7%, which is horrendous for a guy who shouldn't be striking out that much and should be trying to make contact. And he's only got an 8.9% walk rate. It's just horrendous. He is an F offensively for the Yankees.
Somebody's
got to explain how does he have 49 RBIs? It's amazing. That's his only saving grace is somehow or other he is one of the guys when there's guys on base does make contact, I guess.
But there are also a lot of people who will tell you, and a lot of times where he didn't come through. He's been a lot of runners on base.
He's batting very high in the number for the longest time. The other day he hit 3 RBIs without a hit.
He just seems to have a lot of bats. He gets up with guys, and he's kind of like Sal on our baseball team. Sal seems to get up every time. There's always lots of guys on base where he's batting in the order, and it puts stress on you. And I don't know if this guy can handle it. I don't see it.
Sal can handle it because Sal's one tough mother.
Sal's a tough mofo, but his game, looking at his rankings, are just terrible. He is not a major league player right now, and this is really bad. He is now playing an elite position for an elite team, with an amazing history, and he absolutely has to be better than this. And I think that they're messing him up because I don't think that they're coaching him right. I don't think that they're managing him right. I think that this guy his head is all out of whack for a lot of reasons. First of all, he's buying all the crap. He's probably reading the news, hearing it. He's hearing the hate, And
the hate is the hate hasn't been coming after him except for the last 2 weeks. It's finally come down on.
But it's exploding because they can't like this. Why can't this guy do? And really, what he should be doing is playing elite defense. And the fact he was getting a lot of love because he was young, and they felt that he came up a little too soon. But he's also playing a great shortstop the last 2 years. And this year he has really regressed.
He wasn't that good last year. Wasn't that good at shortstop last year either, especially in the second half. But I at this point in time, if the Mets could send down their prize catcher, but they have a guy in Terrence that they feel confident can, hold the fort down for a couple weeks.
The Yankees will have somebody. The question is next year. And that's
my thinking is Volpe's on the team. He's not getting traded. There's nobody to replace him. He's not getting traded. They shouldn't trade him because they can't replace him, which is another reason why they can't send him down. But I will say this. There is a team they should trade him to in the offseason because they have some young talent and they are desperate for a shortstop, and that's the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
But that's where he should end up next year. But anyhow, so I gave Volpe a D. Didn't fail him because he's got the 49 RBIs. I just couldn't fail a guy who's going to knock into 85 runs, 90 runs during the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him a D.
Yeah. I mean, I think a D is fair. He has to. The plan needs to be to completely revamp his approach to the plate and work on his swing. He has.
Well, by the way, his hard hit rate this year is up from 35.7 in 24 to 42.2 in 25. So that goes to show you that hard hit rate is not a winner indicator of everything in its mother. taking us back to the
Yeah,
Rice
well,
Cup.
his hard hit rate is still below average. So, I mean, he's right in
Right,
the
it's
45.
below average, but it's up, and his batting stats are way down. So that takes us to the other infielder who's played significant time, and right now is their starting third baseman, is our friend Peraza, Oswald
And
Peraza.
go ahead. Can I speak first about him?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm not going to give stats on this guy. I know that's your thing. My feeling on it is I don't give a darn. I'd say in the absence of somebody else, because that's it. I'm assuming now that they're not going to get somebody else. I feel they should bat him ninth and let him play. Tell him that they don't give a damn if he gets another hit all season. Teach him how to do two things: play third base well. We know he can do that, and focus on that, and teach him how to bunt. Let him go up there and learn how to get the bunt down, and maybe take a walk or two. Okay, take some pitches, and then if he strikes out looking, then that's fine. This thing that they're expecting this guy to be, to be Alex Rodriguez, is not going to happen. He's not a hitter. But what he is a great elite defender who can save runs. He's going to help Max Fried. If he helps Max Fried 3 times in a game that he plays, then that is a good thing. So
Absolutely.
shut up
I,
and let him
I
be
agree with you
what he is.
wholeheartedly. The thing with me is that he's a 2.9 defensive WAR player, which is excellent for a guy who's played as little as he's played. You gotta love that. And he's 2.9 defensive run saves. He's a plus defender at third base. Obviously, he'd be even plus at shortstop because that's what he really is. What I just don't understand is the guy. Obviously he's got a 28 OPS plus, but in the minors, for all those years in the minors, he had 268, 347 with a 421 slug. He also, in the majors, he's 7 for 10 stealing, and in the minors, he was 156 for 192. And for the Yankees, he's not running. I mean, now he's not on base a lot, but when he's on base, he's got to be running.
And he's got elite speed. I mean, that's another thing. He's very,
and,
very
and
smart.
actually, and he's a very good base runner. That's one of the things I didn't emphasize about Goldschmidt enough is how good a base runner is for a guy who's not fast. But Peraza is a good base runner. And that's the other thing with Volpe. He's not a smart base runner. I mean, he ran out of runs. He ran a single, tried to get a double on a ball. He had no business getting a double. And he makes those stupid plays at the infield that Boone makes excuses for him. So that's the Yankee infield. Obviously, that's a place that they're going to have to address. And I think as we get into the next show, we're going to have no choice but to talk about what the hell they're going to do with the trade deadline. Now it gets now it gets the easiest grade in the book. Aaron Judge, should we just say A and move on? Or A plus and move on?
Well, have we done the outfield? We haven't done the outfield.
Well, that's done it with the infielders. There's nobody else. What are you going to do? Grade DJ? He's gone. You're not going to grade Cabrera. He's out for the season. You're not going to grade Vivas.
No, but the outfielders. What about our 3 outfielders?
Judge. I said Judge. We're on the outfielders.
I'm sorry. I thought you said Aaron. I thought you meant Boone. All right.
No, Judge. Aaron. A plus done. Is there anything else to say? Leading the world in batting average,
probably the
on
greatest,
base, slugging.
The best player in our lifetime. Can you think of a better player?
He's a 7. Well,
maybe
if you don't
A-Rod.
If you don't count the cheaters,
maybe top of the line A-Rod. That is absolute 2 or 3 years. A-Rod
and Schmidt and Trout as well before he started getting hurt. And Judge is a 7.4 WAR through 95 games. I mean, that's out of control. And they keep showing this commercial when I watch Yankees on the MLB network package, so I get the games. They keep showing this commercial. If you take out, obviously, Bonds, he's had the last 2 seasons that he won MVP, not this year, 2 seasons in the top 5 all time in OPS plus. It's out of control.
It's truly amazing. I'm looking at this. He's 100%, 99, 100, 100, 100, 99, 98 in everything, in every major offensive category.
Not including nose hair, as Bob Uecker would say.
I mean, it's amazing. The only thing that he's not good, he swings and misses a whole lot, and he tends not to square up the ball as much, which is really incredible when you think he doesn't square up very much. Can you imagine if he did? If he did, he'd probably hit he'd probably hit the courthouse. I mean, it's just I've never seen anything like it. It's truly amazing. It's sad that they haven't won a World Series.
I mean, his strikeout rate is
and
up.
It's sad that they'll never win a World Series with him. That's my problem.
Well, let's see. His strikeout rate is up only because he went into that little dive. But before the dive that he went into during the no-hitting losing streak that the team went into, and he has taken a little longer to get out of it, his strikeout rate was down, but now it's up to 25.5%. His walk rate, which is surprising, is also down this season, even with the number of intentional walks being up. His walk rate's still only 16%. So, and another player whose defensive WAR surprised me was Aaron Judge. His defensive run saves is only 1.9, and his defensive WAR is 0.1, which caught me off guard.
They don't know what they're talking about. They just don't know. The guy is amazing out there.
I mean, look at that game. He had no hits the other day. The only player in the starting lineup with no hits, yet he was one of the major reasons they won the game because of the 3 catches he made.
Yeah, enough. We don't even need to talk anymore. The guy is the best. And I'm giving him an A+. I don't care. He's an A+.
He's off the curve. You got to take him off the curve. He ruins the curve for everybody. So then,
league.
And then the next guy up is Bellinger. Okay. So 282, 336, 494, 830 OPS, 129 OPS plus, and a WAR of 3.
Now the funny thing about him is that he got off to a terrible start, and people didn't like what he was doing, and they had an issue with him. It's like Goldschmidt got up to a great start, and now is beginning to suffer. This guy now, everyone's giving him all the love because he's suddenly doing so well. This is the thing about this. Everybody goes through slumps. It's just upsetting when you start off badly. When you start off badly, you really take the heat. And when you're starting off badly on a new team, Bellinger took a lot of heat at the beginning, didn't get a lot of love. Now it's all coming back. This guy is an absolute animal out there, and I love him. Everything about his game I like. I like how fast. I like his speed. I like how he runs the bases. I like how his route to balls in the outfield is amazing. I love everything about him. I'd like him to strike out a little bit less, but that's okay, than the 14.4 that he's got. I'm kidding. He's great. Doesn't strike out much. He's excellent.
And what's amazing is he's got reverse splits. He's got a 362 average against lefties and 94 bats.
He seems to know how to hit a left-handed batter, which is why is that? Why?
Because he's a smart baseball player. He changes
his approach. He doesn't try to hit a home run. 2 strikes, this guy changes his bat. He jokes up a little bit and he bats differently when he has 2 strikes.
Yeah, and the thing about Bellinger is this: in 2023, he hit 26 homers and had 97 RBIs and hit 307. All right, with an 881 OPS, which is 139 OPS plus. But in 24, his full season stats in 24 were 18 homers and 78 RBIs in 130 games with 23 doubles and 9 for 11 stolen bases. This year, so far, 16 homers, 54 RBIs in 88 games with 18 doubles, 5 less than a full season in 24, and he's 9 for 11 for stolen bases, his full season total last year. Strikeout rates at 14.4 and his walk rates at 7.7. The guy and he plays outstanding defense at left field, center field, right field, and first base. If the Yankees went into 2026 with him as their first baseman and a 4th outfielder, that would be terrific. The man gets a B+, A- from me, only because of the slow start. But he does everything that you could want a player to do, and I think the Yankees are going to have to make sure he opts in with his player option.
Yeah. I think they really like him a lot. He may not. He may try to go out in the market and make some money.
Well, his agent is Boris, so
yeah, don't be surprised. So that means the Yankees will be paying a whole lot more next year. So
that just means that they have to. If Bellinger walks, they have to sign. They have no choice but to sign Tucker. But that's a story for another show. So then our last. What do you think as far as a Bellinger grade, B+, A- window?
I would say only because of the bad start, I would say that he's a B+. But okay. I'm leaning towards A-. I really am thinking
he's definitely trending up. He's trending up.
Yeah, he'll end up with an A+, an A-, I think. But right now, I would say he's still a B+.
All right. So the next up outfielder that I have on my list is.
And I'll tell you another reason why he's a B+. He doesn't play every day. This is Boone.
Yeah. That's not Boone, but it's not Boone bag, and it's not Boone bag.
I'm going to penalize him because he doesn't play enough. If he played every day,
I don't think it's Boone bag's decision. But all right, so the next up is Dominguez. Dominguez's batting average is up to 266 with a 343 on base, a 417 slug, and an OPS plus of 112, which is 760. He's a 1.1 WAR player, and his defensive WAR is negative 0.6, which is a little misleading because he was horrible in the beginning, and then he had a little blip the last couple of weeks as well. And all through the middle, he was actually pretty good. He still stinks versus lefties at 195, but I'd rather see him in there against lefties than Grisham. He's got a 280 on base with lefties, and that's not good, and a 293 slug. So, obviously he's slanted to go against left-handed pitching. He's much better against right-handed pitching. He's got a K rate of 37% against lefties and 31% against righties, which is still too high. But his walk rate is 11% against lefties and 12.6 against righties. And he's 14 for 16 on stolen bases. He seems to be the only guy that's allowed to run. And he's a very good base runner, despite the one major mistake he made earlier in the season. He still needs to improve right-handed, and he still has some defensive inconsistency, but I still think he needs to play every day. What do you think? Jason with two S's.
I absolutely love the guy. I think he's hitting better against. I like that he's playing more and hitting better against lefties. I think ultimately he'll be a fine switch hitter. I think he's showing that he can do it because he's getting better, because he's trending up. He's not flat. He's not holding the line. He's showing that there's movement there and he can learn something. He's your classic young guy who probably didn't have enough reps in his life and is now showing that based on his skill and his athletic ability, he's going to get better and better. He's not even close to what he's going to be in a year. But they really should play him every single day. Enough is enough.
He's 22 years old.
Get rid of Grisham. Put him there. They should trade Grisham like tomorrow. He should go in the first deal that they make. More important that they trade him than Rice.
Well, but nobody's going to give you anything for Grisham, especially since he's a free agent after the year.
What they should have done, they should have traded him in the middle of May. When he was hot, and then they made, the Yankees as usual missed the boat on the guys who should be traded when they're showing their best stuff. Yankees always miss the boat on that. They somehow think that that's going to be something that's going to work for them for the long haul, and whatever. We'll talk about him later.
So I gave Dominguez a C plus trending to B minus. He's moving in the right direction, but I gave him a C plus trending to B minus.
I would say B minus trending towards a B.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, the way he's trending, I could see him being a B plus by the end of the season.
He's a C fielder, but I think that he is but I would love to see more.
I think they made a mistake. I think they made a mistake moving him to left field.
They should have put him in center. He'd be much better there. And I don't think that the Yankees
Grisham is more comfortable. They didn't want to have to move him around when Grisham played because Grisham wouldn't play another position, I'm sure. So now he gets everybody's favorite, Trent Grisham.
Oh, I hate this guy. Guy.
He is batting 251, 353 on base, 464 slug, 817, OPS plus of 127. He's a 1.8 WAR. And despite the fact that Michael Kay seems to have an orgasm, as does Paul O'Neill every time they watch him play the outfield, he is a 0 defensive run saved and a 0 defensive player.
Finally, now I suddenly say I believe in those. After saying all night that those stats are baloney, I absolutely agree. I think he is eye candy at its best. He looks like he's so smooth, so cool, and he goes out there.
I would take, if I was coaching against him and I had anybody with any kind of speed, I would say you get a base hit to center field. Run as hard as you can to first base, and if he starts to do this little form over substance, I'm Joe Cool defensive thing, take the extra base on him, because while his arm is not bad, it's accurate, it's not very strong, but it's not a bad arm. I would do that because he gets flustered when people do that. And the first time I've ever heard Michael Kay say anything negative about his defense was the other day, and I thought it was a much tougher play, but Michael Kay said it at a 70% catch rate. And if his hamstring is bothering him, then don't freaking play him.
Stupid. What's that?
So in 21 and 23, 2021 and 2023, he had reverse splits, and those were two of his best seasons. Okay. But in 2025, which is all we really give a flying Walenda about, he's batting 177 against lefties with a 304 slug and a 597 OPS.
Also, didn't he come here with 15 stolen bases? Why doesn't he steal bases with the Yankees? Ever.
Well, now he's got a bad hamstring, so they have an excuse.
Well, that's the reason. But he came here with 15 stolen bases with the Padres. He comes here. Now he's basically John Carlos.
0 for 1. 0 for 1 on the season.
Wow. That's the way.
Yeah.
I find this guy annoying. I don't like anything about him.
And he's streaky as hell. He's streaky as hell.
Yeah. You know, and what's he got? 16 home runs. What did he get? 12 in before May 15th. Nothing really since.
I'm not a fan either, but based on the fact that he did carry them a little bit earlier in the season, I did give him a C+, which is trending downward from a B-, but I think I'm so biased against him because of his form over substance style of play. It's killing me.
Yeah, I'll give him I'll go there. I won't go any better, and I certainly won't go any worse because that would be mean. But I would say C+.
And I feel badly that I'm giving a C+, but you know what? He's going in the wrong direction, and I don't like him.
All right,
I don't like the way he plays.
We don't have a lot of time to do the pitchers, so do you want to talk about Stanton and then Boone back?
No, we got Stanton Wells and Wells. We got to talk about.
All right, so let's go.
There's not much to talk about Stanton. I mean, he's only played 21 games. His OPS plus is 117. He's a .2 WAR. If he played a full season, he would be on the pace to hit about 28 homers and knocking around 95 runs. But his strikeout rate is 32%. That's out of control. And I've never seen a guy swing at pitches so far out of the strike zone in my entire life.
He absolutely is fooled, has no idea where the ball is coming half the time. He closes his eyes, prays to the good Lord, and swings as hard as he can. And if he's lucky enough to make contact, he has
great bat speed, and his bat is in the hitting zone for a long period of time. It just doesn't adjust it's like when they used to play coach pitch for kids, and you make sure you hit the kid's bat, you make them take a practice swing, and you dart throw it, and you make them hit the kid's bat. Sort of like the double play guys have to do with some of the hitters. You do that. That's what Stanton is like that, except they're not trying to do any dart throws. They just have to hit his bat.
His sprint speed is 1.
And wait, you should look up his sprint speed. When he came to the Yankees, he had one of the best sprint speeds in baseball. That's what's really crazy.
Amazing.
So the next guy on the list is Wells. He's a 226, 284, 455 slug, 739 OPS, which is a 103 OPS plus. He's a 2.3 WAR player, and he's 12 defensive runs saved.
Impressive. Amazing.
But he's still got a 24% strikeout rate and only a 6% walk rate. He also has reverse splits. He's been much better against lefties than he has against righties.
Yeah, I really like his catching. I like the framing. I like a lot of his what he does behind the plate.
I like the fact that he does it. I just hate the fact that he has to. But and then Scarra's only 90. So I gave Wells a B- because of his defense.
Yeah, I mean, I find Wells to be very annoying because of the streakiness.
Well, you can't hit the high fastball. You can't hit a high fastball.
You can't hit a high fastball, and that's all I would throw him. If I were pitching to him, I would throw him.
Yeah. I would throw him. And he swings at the ones out of the zone. Yankees need to teach him, or he has to learn, because the Yankee coaching seems to leave a little bit to be desired. He needs to learn to stay off the high fastball that's out of the zone. And then Escara's only had 90. I gave him what I gave him. And then Escara's only had 93 at bats. He's been fine. I mean,
he's fine. He's good backup. Good backup.
So
do you want a backup who was not a left-handed hitter, but right. It's fine.
Yeah. So So do you want? Let's go to Boone Bag. You want to jump over the pitchers? We could do another show this weekend and
we'll do another show with that, and then because we got a lot of pictures to talk about.
Yeah. So we'll schedule another special show about the pitchers.
My bedtime.
So Boone Bag. This is what I have to say about Boone Bag. I'll let you. You have a well articulated thing. I'm going to say there is nothing outstanding about the way he manages. He's a slave to analytics. He's not creative. The team's not running enough, even with their speed runners, other than Dominguez. He has no explanation for why Jazz is not running, even when they ask him. No explanation for why Volpe has awful steal stats. He still defends the indefensible, like what Volpe did that one game where he threw the ball to third base, and he's defending Volpe's hitting. And, thank God DJ's gone, because DJ was in the best shape of his life. He overused Grisham. He underuses Dominguez, and he's got blind loyalty to that stupid lineup roulette, which you're going to blame him for. But I'm going to say to you, the lineup comes from upstairs, and yes, he can change it. But as soon as he changes it, it doesn't work. He knows he's fired. Yeah. And I gave Boone because he adds nothing. He takes away a little bit, and to me, if you add nothing, you're a B minus. To me, he's a C minus. He's below average, and I just don't understand him defending the indefensible. That's what bothers me. If somebody screws up, you don't have to call them out. I understand that the players are a little bit soft, but you don't have to call them out in public. But you can't defend the indefensible of what's going on out there, and that's what drives me crazy about him.
Yeah. When we play baseball on Sunday, we always talk about some fat, stupid, old geezer out in the field, and
Why are you talking about me like that?
And your brother always says, "I resemble that remark," and nobody says anything. It's like
he does,
and he goes, "What?" And we all say, "Well, tell us something we don't agree with." I am completely in agreement with you on everything about him. An empty uniform. He's basically a stiff with a hat on his head. And I just a Yankee cap. I just can't stand him. I don't like anything about him. The thing I hate most.
He's a very nice man.
He's a nice man. Everyone seems to like him. That's great. The only thing I'm tired of how he apologizes for these guys. He supports them unconditionally.
He doesn't apologize. That's the thing is he doesn't apologize. He defends everything that they do. He
defends them. Everything he does. And it makes me crazy when I hear him say, and then he started talking about it again. We have it all out in front of us. That damn statement, he keeps making it over and over. It's all for us to take. Shut up. Say something. Say the truth. Tell us what you really feel. This team is not operating correctly. This team should have a lot more wins. This team should be should be in first place. They've not been managed well. They are not defensively strong. They still make boneheaded plays on all the things that lost them a World Series last year. They are still doing with new personnel. The guys that were really a pain are gone, and the guys who were there aren't any better.
All right, so Judge's big mistake was dropping the fly ball in the outfield, but other than that,
blame him for that.
But he didn't hit. But from a defensive perspective, Goldschmidt, Bellinger, and Judge really don't make mistakes.
They don't, but everyone else does.
And
too many mistakes.
Dominguez does, and he's learning. Hopefully, Peraza definitely is better than DJ was, and Grisham is now playing second base. So we got to hope that gets better. But they just do so many things that are so. I think he's done a good job this year.
Who?
I've never ever complimented a Yankee since Dick Hauser at the position.
Third base coach.
Yes, they have been sending runners properly towards home plate. How's that for a compliment to the coaching staff?
Seem to be. That's a nice compliment. Fair, but they don't seem prepared.
No, absolutely.
I don't understand. Pitchers can't seem to pick up the ball. They don't throw the ball well to first base.
No.
They are a terrible bunting team. They're the worst. They play that stupid rule about with the ghost runner that we talk about often. That we have already proven that we are absolutely correct on that. All of the analytics out there, all of the stars, everybody who's been talking about this for years and now of all this data, they are all wrong. You and I are the only ones in the world.
What's funny is the data actually supports what you convinced me of. You were the one that was there first, and you convinced me. The data supports getting that first run across as a visiting team to put the pressure on the opposing team. The problem is that the Yankees don't have anybody that could put the bunt down. I mean, you got guys like Volpe and Peraza who should know how to bunt and can't. The best punter on the team last year was Soto.
You have a ghost running rule now. That is going to be 10 games a year that you can win or lose by how you execute in that moment. And you don't teach these guys how to bunt. It's unfathomable to me that a 10-game swing of your schedule, is not considered important enough to manage for. That to me is outrageous.
It's actually more. I disagree. I think it's more like a 15-game swing, maybe.
All right, a
20.
15-game
swing. I absolutely agree with you. So the last guy that I saw, what are you going to give Boone? What, a D, a C, an A?
An absolute F.
Okay.
F. Sorry, I think he sucks.
So
the other
guy we need to grade is Cashman before we go. So this is my situation with Cashman. Plan B worked. He didn't get pregnant. He took the pill. Soto left. Placed them with Fried, Goldschmidt, and Bellinger. It worked. Those three guys are the most, Goldschmidt slumped, but those three guys have been at the top of the barrel, right below Judge for the team for the season. And there's nothing you can say about that. But he let the bullpen, bullpen's terrible. The starting pitching depth, they burned through it. And it's on him that Heal's not back till August, when he was going to be out a month, and he's out till August.
The hell.
So
that's another thing.
I give Cashman an incomplete, if only because he gets graded right after July 31st.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we should. I don't think that they constructed the team correctly. You can go back, all 0.3 of you that are still here listening. If you go back to any of our shows going back 6-8 months, you'll have heard me say many times, team needed a third baseman or a second baseman and a leadoff hitter. Those are all things that have really, really hurt them this year. They didn't deserve everything we said that they were going to have a problem with. They've had to deal with. They've had a problem with, and it bothers me. That to me was a construction failure. They failed in the development of the team. The plan was off. Do I think that the guys that they brought in were great? Yes. Love Bellinger. Love Goldie. I'm super happy with that. Fried is outrageously good. I just hope he's okay and they haven't overused him, and hope he's not hurt. But he's last 3 starts a little bit worrisome. The blister, we'll see. But the guy is nails. And who knew you were gonna? They probably should have known they were gonna lose. What's his name?
As soon as Cole didn't walk away when he had the chance to walk away.
They knew something was. Cole
was smart enough to do, and they were smart enough not to give him the extra year.
And then they blew it by accepting it. They should have said no. I mean, he had the right to say no. Didn't they have a right at that point?
He'll be fine.
I think that's fine. We'll talk about that when we talk about pitching.
Yeah, Hill and Schmidt are an issue. And both should have been, because we talked about that 6 months ago as well. But we'll talk about that later at another time.
All right, my friend. I'm going to go eat my late dinner. It's not good for me.
That's funny. You're eating dinner now. I ate dinner before the show. Have a nice life. We'll touch base and we'll figure out when we're going to do a show about pitching. Okay. I'd like to do it this weekend if we can.
Let's do it. Thank you, my friend.